Hello everybody, have you been enjoying chapters 3 and 4? I know I've been enjoying chapters 3 and 4. And I've also been enjoying looking back at some of the older pieces of media, like specifically the spamton sweepstakes stuff, to see how it's involved in the newest chapters. And today I'm specifically looking back at the blog posts on Noelle's blog, Holiday Girl 1225. So let's hop into it. So the first blog page is /code, which is actually surprisingly relevant. It's the main page of Noelle's blog, and if you look at the song she's listening to, it is Raise Up Your Bat by Blood Crushers the Band. And Raise Up Your Bat is, of course, the song that we play in the rhythm game section of Board 2 in Chapter 3. Spoilers, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that earlier, but there's going to be spoilers, sorry. I have seen some people suggest that Des was the one who sang Raise Up Your Bat, wrote it, which, no. Noelle's blog post mentions that it's by Blood Crushers the band, and Blood Crushers appears to be like a horror franchise within Deltarune. I think the song could still be like about Des on like a meta level, but I think in universe it's the song by Blood Crushers the band. And then the other thing about Noelle's main blog page is that there's some mention of Dragon Blazers parallels. Like, the Dragon Blazers website was updated with a bunch of mystery links that correlate to the mystery links available in the Spamton Sweepstakes event, so that's just another Dragon Blazers parallel, though we kind of already knew that. But the Dragon Blazers parallels have gotten even stronger with chapters 3 and 4, like mention of the Dragon Blazers evil route. I can't get over that. And then /code comments is connected to /code, and there's not really much to say here. It's some fun Noelle and Birdley interaction, a little bit of Chris. And the only thing I have on here is that, like, Jockington asks if there could be a soccer ball in Dragon Blazers, and Noelle says no, which implies that soccer balls are fake to Deltarune. I think that's me reading too far into things, though. Moving on to /cap headers, this is one that's not super lore relevant. Like, it's mentioned in chapter 4, I believe, when you're in Noelle's room. Susie is like, oh, what's this cap headers thing? And Noelle's like, oh, it has really good character breeding mechanics. It's also mentioned that Alphys plays it, which is kind of fun. And that's kind of it, though. Although there is one line in here about Noelle punishing her pets so that they wouldn't fall in love, which, I don't know. I feel like there's something to read into there. I've grouped with cap headers /rain and /rarecats. Rarecats isn't one of Noelle's blog posts, but it's similar. So /rain is actually relevant because it foreshadows the Mike minigames, Jongler, Pluie, and Batat. Noelle mentions Jongler by name, and Batat is the one that she mentions playing and seeing like a cat that made her lose points, which in Deltarune, when you play Batat, if you find the friend cat, it has a chance to give you minus points, or like 15 bajillion points. I don't remember the exact number. Although something I think is interesting is that the Mike mini-games are slightly different on Switch 2. So instead of Batat and Jongler, there's different ones called like Airwaves and Main Performance, still off Pluie though. So if we're playing the cap headers minigames, I think that's interesting. Is cap headers not available for Switch 2? Is that the implication? So sad. Anyways, moving on. Alright, so the newest _girl is another one that doesn't have any major connections. There's a lot of the blog posts that are like important for like backstory and character reasons. They just don't have any major implications or references to chapters 3 and 4. I do have a couple things to read into here, like Noelle mentions Susie eating an apple including the core, which is like in the weird route in chapter 4, Chris can eat an apple, including the core. I think I'm reading too much into that, though. Another thing is Noelle mentioning holiday family ninja style, which, considering Carol has 2 katanas, I don't know. I think maybe holiday family ninja style is a bit of a Carol thing, mayhaps? But that's pretty much it for this one. Alright, so moving on, I'm going to talk about Blue Circle first, because I don't have anything to say about it. It is just about Pippus, and that's very much spamton in chapter 2, so... The actual one that is relevant is Chris Dreamer underscore Chris. Chris underscore Dreamer underscore Chris. And this one specifically talks a lot about Chris playing the piano, which we see them do in chapter 4. They get the soul out, and then they go and they start playing piano like they did for Noelle when they were kids. And I think that's nice. I also think it's a little interesting. The last line of this blog post is, "It felt like a concert just for me," which on the OST, there's a track called Concert for You, which is 3 seconds long, and it is just the sound effect that plays whenever you, the player, try to play the piano. And I think there's something to, like, with the contrast there. Chris is playing piano for Noelle, for other people, and something personal. Meanwhile, you're playing piano for you, and it's a little less personal. That's how I interpret it anyway. Now we get to the things that are especially relevant and interesting, starting with /egg. This one is obviously meant to call to mind the man behind the tree. In fact, the /man page links here. The egg Noelle talks about is a white egg, much like the ones that the man behind the tree gives us. So she also mentions that the egg plays a weird sound, which that's what the egg does in Deltarune, pretty much. I think Noelle remembers the egg, but she doesn't remember its name, much like how so the man behind the tree is giving Chris eggs so that Chris will remember the man. Noelle can only remember the egg, but not its name, much like Chris doesn't remember the man behind the tree's name, that type of thing. It's also interesting that the egg left home due to happiness, the happiness of Noelle, like, caring for it and stuff. I know a lot of people in these recent chapters have a theory about the man behind the tree being some sort of personification of Chris's trauma, and I think this has the possibility to interact with that, like the egg leaving home due to happiness, caring for your trauma, and, like, healing from it or something. I'm not sure. But yeah, this one's really interesting. It's possible that, like, maybe Noelle had an encounter with the man behind the tree, and she just doesn't remember it, and that's how she got the egg in her cat petters game. I don't know. We'll see. Last, but most certainly not least, Ice Palace underscore Glacier. This one is extremely relevant because we visit the Glacier Palace in the Sword Route. We see the cross-shaped maze Noelle mentions, where you need the white cloak in order to get through the maze. And what I think is especially interesting is that the white cloak character is definitely meant to represent Noelle, what with the ice magic and the, like, deer placeholder sprite thing. And Noelle mentions in this blog post that she can find, like, a mysterious door that she doesn't have the key for. And I think maybe that door is the one that we find in game. Noelle mentions that she could never find a key for it, and the ice key that we find is out of bounds, so there would be no way for her to find it, presumably. Noelle also mentions that the last direction you go is up, which, from what I've seen, I looked up footage of someone getting to the door in the ice palace, and it didn't look like the last direction in the cross-shaped maze was up, but you do like go up to reach the door, so maybe that's a thing. It's also another Dragon Blazers connection. Speaking of the door itself, I've seen a lot of people theorizing that like the Deltarune symbol on there, the angel has like a little triangle under it. I think that's probably mostly meant to represent a keyhole. The thing that, but again, I might also be going crazy because when you open the door and you look at the red bit surrounding it, does it look like a red horn headband to anyone else? Again, maybe I'm going crazy, but that's something I've been thinking about. Thanks for watching my video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you've been enjoying Deltarune as well. It's pretty fun. I have. Well, I haven't been enjoying fighting a certain secret boss quite as much, but it's a good game. See you next time with maybe more theories, or maybe something completely different. Who knows? See ya!